old adage that plans are made to be broken sums up today's video perfectly. I sat down to do a video about another band and album that somebody had requested. I ended up checking to see if I'd ever seen them live, which led me to do a deep dive on Warped Tour 98's lineup, and then deciding to switch to Rancid's Life Won't Wait, which came out shortly before their Warped Tour stop in Toronto. I still remember my excitement the first time I put the album on and heard its blistering intro. I was immediately expecting a return to their sound on Let's Go. And then there was a hard left turn into Blood Clot. I was conflicted. I wasn't sure if I loved it or if I hated it. But I mean, it was different, and obviously different's bad, right? And Hoover Street continued to veer off course. It was slow, it had piano, it wasn't the blistering punk I had expected. Honestly, it was barely even ska. This was not at all what I had signed up for. On that first listen, there were more tracks I hated than I could tolerate, and even fewer I actually liked. I was absolutely distraught. Rancid were half the reason I was even going to Warped Tour. The other big reason was Snapcase. What can I say? Even back then, I was pretty all over the place musically. Like something out of a scene from a 90s movie like Dazed and Confused or Suburbia, we all gathered nightly at the park. Sitting in the grass that night, we were all talking about the album, and the sentiments were all pretty much the same. A track here and there people liked, but overall it felt like everybody was questioning their life choices for ever even liking Rancid. Then another one of our friends showed up who was just gushing about the album. He loved it front to back. And while most of the group just laughed at him and called him crazy, he made me wonder if I was the problem. If my expectations for Let's Go 2.0 were the only reason I didn't like it. I was young, and at the time I didn't really understand bands evolving and maturing. So even though Rancid had obviously been doing that leading up to Life Won't Wait, it still kind of broke my brain. Leading up to Warped Tour, I decided to acclimate myself in the album, expecting a set list heavy in those tracks. And going into the album with no expectations kind of helped it grow on me over the years, and eventually it's become my favorite Rancid album.
Who would have thought that dreams come true? And who would have thought I ended up with you?
Looking back now, it feels more like Rancid's London Calling. They took a gamble and started to explore some of their other influences. There's such a rich depth of sound on this album, and you have a massive list of people contributing to this album, ranging from Buju Banton, Dickie Barrett and Billy Joe Armstrong, to Roger Merritt and Marky Ramone. And on top of that, the album was recorded everywhere from LA and New York to Kingston, Jamaica. With all these collaborations and the recording spread out over so many different environments, it's no wonder this album was a departure from their other albums. Not just vocally either, but instrumentally. And the reggae influences from those Jamaican sessions really shine through. All in all, the album used 22 of the 50 plus tracks that were recorded. Some of those unused tracks have shown up on B-sides, Rarities albums, or other artists have used on their solo albums. But many have still not seen the light of day. At the end of the day, I'm glad I gave this album another shot and was able to fall in love with it. What's an album that you absolutely hated at first because it was different than what you expected, but then you came to love it?